Hey everybody, welcome back. Happy
Hi.
Thursday.
Look at us being consistent.
Look at us go. I know. There's going to be a mix of live and pre-recorded content, maybe some replays here and there for those of you who might have missed them. So we'll be here 7 p.m. every week, Eastern time, that is. Tonight, I'm really excited for those who might be new with us. My name is Ashley Duwel, CEO at Duwel Dev.
And I'm Natasha Velez, her co-host, CEO of NVS Strategic Solutions.
We're going to talk about targeting the right IDIQs and GWACs tonight. So, episode full of acronyms. We will break them down for those of you who might be new. And we're also going to talk about how to win your fair share of task orders, because there's a myth out there that when you get an IDIQ that the skies are going to part and contracts are just going to fall from the sky. So we're going to break down how those work, how they're different from, your normal 1-year term SAM.gov contracts, and break those down a little bit, as well as which ones to look out for in 2026.
And don't get it twisted. Just because it's $1 billion IDIQ didn't mean that you want $1 billion. And we'll go with that.
I would be super remiss if I didn't congratulate everybody on making it through fiscal Q4 of 2025, because that was an interesting time. This whole summer has been just, I don't know, I feel like I'm getting knocked around a little bit, put it that way.
I'm definitely gathering my footing, but it has not stopped.
It has not stopped. Q4 right into a government shutdown.
Yeah, so it's like it never ends.
That's okay. Contracts are still being awarded. So this is only temporary. I think they said this Friday, hopefully, they'll be back up and running. But I know that it's causing a lot of chaos for a lot of you out there, and I apologize if you are being affected by it. But without further ado, there are hundreds of contract vehicles in the federal space, IDIQs, MACs, GWACs, but really most businesses just need a handful. They think that if they just kind of crowd up the contract vehicles, that's somehow going to advance them, and really it does kind of create an admin burden. So we're going to break down how to figure out the right ones today.
I will say that sometimes that is a whole strategy in itself. There are some companies that focus just on IDIQs, right? But with a strategy. So we'll get into those.
Yes, absolutely. And it's really the next logical progression. When you do have past performance, you want to secure that longer term revenue. So let's talk about what they even are. So IDIQ stands for indefinite delivery, indefinite quantity. And GWAC stands for government-wide acquisition contract. And they're a little bit different from the open market opportunities. Tell us how they're different.
How they're different from the open opportunities is that it puts you in a smaller box. Consider it like your set aside, but you essentially bid on these opportunities to get on what we call the contract vehicle, right? And you can just give overall, this is our pricing, this is who we are, who we intend to partner with. But the overall theme is it's like almost like a blanket purchase order. And you get on this contract vehicle, you're probably on there for 5 to 10 years, depending on the vehicle. I've seen some that are 20, but those are very rare. And you and whoever else is on the vehicle bids on those task orders. No one else can bid on it unless they get in during renewal season.
Yeah, it's kind of a pre-vetting process, if you will. Solicitation comes out, contractors will bid. Out of the responsive contractors, they're going to choose sometimes one, sometimes multiple. So if it's an IDIQ and agency specific, it might be being awarded to one contractor. It may be awarded to multiple. And you're right, it does kind of work like a baseball team after that. Because even once you make the team, you're only going to get the minimum order if you don't perform.
Correct. And you'll be the only ones bidding.
Yes. Now, your agency customers, the reason that they like them is because, well, faster procurement is the given. But there's also reduced risk and a trusted vendor pool because of that pre-bidding process. So that's been very helpful. And if you are only chasing open market bids, you are fishing in the busiest pond. The IDIQ, like Natasha said, is a smaller vendor pool. So instead of bidding against 100 contractors, you're maybe bidding against 10 or 20 others. So
Very much so.
It kind of levels the playing field a little bit.
Yep. So if we had to choose between contract vehicles, what are the most prevalent ones that we focus on, that most companies focus on, whether it's IT, professional services? What does that look like?
Well, we don't want you to just chase what everybody else is chasing. Let's look ahead. By the time 2026 rolls around, some of the largest vehicles in government history will be open. So if you're not preparing now, you'll literally be 2 years behind. Your competitors have been preparing for these. Let's talk a little bit and unpack some of those, what they are, what's bought off of them before we even proceed, because I know that we have a diverse audience in multiple industries. One that has been very, very popular, I do have a lot of IT clients, if you can imagine that, is the NASA Soup. So Soup 5 went for this one, guys, is competed with a base of 5 plus 5 option years. And the government exercised each one of those option years. So, fact be known, this was my second, only 2 times in my federal contracting tenure have I seen Soup competed. So it doesn't come around very often. I've been doing this for 15 years, guys. So if you are not on Soup, there are plenty of subcontracting opportunities. This is a huge IT products and services government-wide acquisition contract. And Soup 5 was obligated at $10 billion annually. So it always has been one of the most popular IT contract vehicles. It has been the easiest vehicle from the government to buy from. So if you don't have any relationships on Soup, definitely get in position there for 2026. And then dare we talk about CIO, SP4?
Oh my God, yes. That one has been in protest forever. I don't know, maybe next year.
If it ever resolves protests, it might be CIO.
It was like a whole year thing. I think it was like it's been a whole year.
Quite literally. Now, NIH has already signaled interest in modernizing their GWAC framework for health IT and beyond. But I remember when that thing was posted, there were over 1,000 questions.
Yeah,
So
it's like enterprise IT services, and it's a very, very cool IDIQ. It's like biomed, medical technology, all kinds of stuff like that. It's really, really cool. But it has been in process for a very long time. But it is one of the popular ones. It is one of the popular ones.
And another one that at least was, and I'm not sure, is Polaris still around? That was a small business IT services.
I think it is. IT services. I mean, we'll see what happens with the landscape. But it was primarily for like small, diversified businesses, Awards were delayed though from for this year, so I don't know. We'll see.
We'll see on that.
Yeah.
OASIS Plus, this is your services super vehicle. So those of you who are in the audience in professional services, this is probably the one that you've either heard about or you want to hear about. Awards have already been announced, but real task order traffic ramps in 25-26 once sort of the on-ramps settle. And they call it a super vehicle. So even if you didn't win a spot, there are plenty of subcontracting opportunities on OASIS. And oftentimes you're better served to start as a sub on one of these long-term vehicles. Soup, for example, in order to bid on Soup this time around, you had to have been a sub on the last one. So there's definitely some competitive frameworks built into that requirement. Alliant 3, that's a GSA, IT Solutions, GWAC. That ceiling,
ops, right?
Yeah, that ceiling is projected at $75 billion.
Wow.
Yeah. $75 billion ceiling. So They're thinking it might become the go-to for large-scale IT modernization,
Mm,
AI, and cybersecurity across buying agencies. Now, that's not to say that there's not still a bunch of AI and R&D floating through
so
SBIR
many.
OTAs and grants. We're going to talk a little bit more about grants in probably next week's episode. So stick around because more opportunities have been flowing down through grants than we're traditionally used to seeing. So stay
Yeah,
tuned.
well, we had a lot of money redirected back to the US. So some of that money has materialized into grants.
Yes.
And we all talk about how it went down to the States. So, yes, next episode will be very fun to talk about.
There are a couple new DoD agency-specific IDIQs to mention. So
Mm,
sometimes when you have a GWAC, a government-wide acquisition contract, it is just that, government-wide. But then you have these smaller IDIQs, which is like the Army RS-4, which is the follow-on to the RS-3, and that's rumored to drop next year. Well, 2026, I should say. So for those of you who might be new, federal fiscal year runs from October 1 to September 30th the following year. So when we say 2026, to us, we're already in 2026. So have your eyes peeled on sam.gov.
we also have PAC 6. Now, that was canceled for a while, but PAC 6 is coming back, and that's NASA. And that's for all of you IT and professional services, professional administration, engineering, all the things. So that's coming. We also have PACE coming. That's
Please.
another one. PACE will be here in January. It's supposed to drop. IT infrastructure, I think it's AI that they're focusing on AI ML, and then there's another one that's data and cloud capabilities. So all of that will be coming out as well in January's NASA missions. A lot of funding there.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. I mean, it may not seem like it because everybody's kind of being bombarded with the negative right now, but there are a lot of shifts happening. And these vehicles, I have to say, they're even for a small business because of the emphasis being placed on subcontracting plans to the large primes. You guys are in there. You just have to build that relationship, build that bridge,
Right.
showcase your core competencies, and obviously, last but certainly not least, do good work. Um,
It'll get you
I,
so much better.
I know that we just rattled off a whole bunch of vehicles. So let's slow down for a second and make sure that you know how to target the right vehicles because it's a lot going on. And Natasha can tell you how many hours does it take to prepare a proposal for one of these vehicles.
We'll use soup. Soup is a very nice example of that. Soup is very popular. It's a huge number, but they higher the number in many cases, the longer the writing and the requirements. Soup took about 7, 8 months. That was a lot of writing. That was a lot of Q&A, and anyone who knows knows. My little soup warriors out there. It was chaos.
Yeah.
Um, and it took forever. There were a lot of pauses, amendments, modifications. It was constant. So when you think of these high value contracts, there's a level of work to get in there. You want to get into the club though, because once you're in, you're set, right? Like it's just you and those people that got in. So you want to be the finalist in that IDIQ. But very much so, you want to be strategic, you want to be smart, you want to get on the right ones. Um, I always was looking at like when you do staffing, for instance, we've had an entourage of like a lot of medical staffing coming our way lately, and it's not it's interesting to be seen that like it's not just you're looking for staffing contracts, now you're looking for medical staffing contracts. So you're focusing on, you know, vets too, you're looking at VA contracts, you're looking at what was the other one that I think there was a VA one that we were looking at. I think it was like a GSA kind.
Yeah, the medical supplies schedule 65 1,
Yeah, there you
sixty-five
go. Mhm.
2, one's for pharmaceuticals, and the others for medical supplies.
Yep. So there's a couple that it depends on your industry, and there's every agency, a majority of agencies have their own. And I've actually seen IDIQs down to the state level. which I was probably last month-year old when I learned that one.
These state governments love, love, love to buy IT services or software on a statewide term contract.
Yep.
So you will hear them not called IDIQs, but statewide term contracts. Not
Right.
to say that the lower levels of government don't have them, but they might call them something different. Typically, when you see anything over a year contract length, you'll usually see it base plus option years.
Yeah.
That's what we refer to as an IDIQ.
Well, they had
All GWACs are IDIQs, but not all IDIQs are GWACs. That's a good way
wax.
to remember it.
Right.
But to make sure, if you're out there evaluating these and you're like, oh my gosh, there's so many, it's overwhelming. I know, first of all. First thing you want to do is look at the scope. Does the scope fit your core competencies? And please look beyond the NAICS code, guys. They
Right.
only can pick one NAICS code, and these scopes of work are massive. So you don't want to kind of just look at the code. Oh, I don't have that NAICS code. Okay, we'll add it. If you can do the work, add the NAICS code and still bid. Also, the customer fit. Does that GWAC include, or that IDIQ include agencies or an agency that you have on your targeted customer list?
Right.
Maybe you already know that customer. That kind of makes it even higher priority in my mind.
Right.
Competition. That's a big one. Who else is on it? Who are you going to be competing against? Do you add any unique value? I mean, I would be less excited if I had to go bid against the likes of someone like SAIC. And no offense, they're really great at what they do, but I'm too small for that, right? So I'm not going to invest my time, money, and resources into bidding against someone that I know I can't compete with. I might as well just sub with them. And then the last, but certainly not least, ties back into what Natasha said about soup is, do you even have the resources and bandwidth to respond to task orders? Because remember, the job isn't done when you win the contract. After you win, every time the government has a need, they're going to issue a task order, and you're going to go right back, pick up that pen, right back up, and write more, basically. But most of them are probably price based. Beyond that, or are they best value too on IDIQs?
No, they do a little bit of both. It's still best value.
Okay.
You don't. All right. So IDIQ, it's like the very, very last option. Once you've met best value, then it comes down to, okay, who's got the lowest price out of the two that meet the best value? Best value always wins up front.
Yeah,
And
I
there's
had
negotiations.
I heard someone lost an LPTA contract not long ago because their NIST score was less than the competitors. So even when it's LPTA, apparently best value is taken into consideration.
It is late. As of late, yes, it is. I think a lot of people did LPTA prior to this administration because it was just easier.
Yeah.
It didn't require a lot of evaluation, let's be real.
Yeah, now we're doing orals, but
yeah. Yeah.
Go back and watch that episode. Won't go down that road today. All right. This is probably the most important part. We found the right vehicle. We wrote a great proposal. We got the award.
Yay.
Here's what's going to happen, though. Everybody that gets the award on that vehicle is going to get the minimum. Sometimes that minimum's 3,000. Sometimes that minimum's 10,000. It'll say so in the contract. Take a look at the information.
Most of the time, like
if they don't like your work, if they don't like your price, if they don't like you, they don't have to use you again, technically. So you are not on a multi-incumbent IDIQ. You are not done competing.
Correct.
So
there are people that are on IDIQs that have never won anything.
Nope, or they got the minimum and they'll claim that they won a huge IDIQ, but it may or may not be the same dollar amount as the task order. Nonetheless, it happens. A lot of folks think that if they get on an IDIQ just to say that they have it, that it will bring them more business without taking into consideration, hey, do I have the resources to maintain this IDIQ? And same thing with the GSA schedule. GSA's schedule can be an admin burden. So if you get the schedule and you can't keep up with it, it's not going to bring value to you. So you just want to make sure that you do the research and the due diligence before you go chasing these. And always, if you're unsure, start as a sub. Learn how the ropes go. Learn how the contract is managed and administered. Learn who the customers are, and
Right.
work your way in. That's a great way to
Yes.
build your book of business immediately while you're waiting for these to come back around.
Very much so.
And common
Common.
pitfalls. I think we
There's so
kind of
much
touched on that the
to
last time.
say.
I
You could
got a
start
little
with
bit ahead of myself.
you
Imagine that.
did because you really kind of all right. So the main pitfall
Yeah.
is you get on a GSA schedule, you get on a contract, you get on an IDIQ, and then you don't do anything with it. You don't market it, you don't try to partner to go after opportunities, you don't execute or go after task orders, maybe not any task orders just right, or blah blah blah. You overthink it, you don't do anything. And 5 years passes.
Yeah, it does go fast. It does go fast because by the time you learn how to use the schedule, you're already 2 years in, and if you don't make a certain dollar amount in sales on that schedule, they will not renew it, and you risk losing it completely. So, not something to take lightly. Now, I imagine GSA is very, very backlogged right now. It's taking a long time for schedules to process.
Yeah.
If Do not sleep on this, guys. If
Yes.
you are in IT, COTS, don't sleep
Professional
on it. Yeah.
services, staffing,
Mhm.
GSA.
Yep, it's a simplified method of purchasing. It is a type of IDIQ, and we did a more in-depth session. There was a replay last week, so go check that out if you are interested. But what I like about the GSA is that it is a IDIQ contract vehicle that there's no like anyone can onboard at any time, so long as you have the past performance. I mean,
Yeah.
you do have to have past performance to get on pretty much any of these vehicles.
Right.
However, with that said, there's no waiting period. You can start the process at any time. So, if you are new to contract vehicles, or if you are in one of the industries that we just explained, highly recommend looking into it sooner rather than later. Another one, and this isn't just with IDIQs, this is just kind of across the board, but I do see it a lot more prevalent with IDIQs, is underestimating proposal costs.
Oh.
Proposal costs, I mean, you have no idea. It takes so long to write one of these things. So whether you're doing it in-house or whether you're outsourcing it, please be taking into consideration what it's going to cost. And that's your cost of your sale, right? In the government contracting arena, your sales process looks a little bit different, but that's your cost per sale. And you have to evaluate that. If you don't have a strong case, if you don't think that you're going to win task orders because your competitive analysis said that you may not be strong, it might not be the right one to go after. And that's okay, because you're going to build your book of business and work on those weaknesses, turn them into strengths, and bid when it comes next time around, hopefully.
Very much so. That's where you come up with your risk mitigation strategies.
Yes.
So
very much so. And then you already said this, but forgetting marketing.
Oh, yes.
Just because you have an OASIS or a GSA schedule does not mean that the customers are going to start beating down your door wanting to buy from you. People buy from people they like. So I encourage you, I implore you, please be marketing your services. If you do not advocate for yourself, who's gonna?
You won't. And if you are a subcontractor on a vehicle, kiss the babies, shake the hand, do all the things, keep your relationship, because do not be fooled. You are not the only person hanging out with your prime. They are working to negotiate bigger scopes of work with the prime. So you want to have a really, really good relationship with them so that you can build. And every time you guys go after opportunities, those relationships will feed into bigger scope of work, which is more money in your pocket, more book of business, and so on and so forth. That eventually you might want to swap seats and become a prime one day. So
yeah, it might be such a, I mean, like us, for example, sometimes it makes more sense for Natasha to prime. Sometimes it makes more sense for me to prime or to bring in a whole nother partner to prime. And
Mhm.
that's strategy. You don't always have to be the prime. So
Correct.
that's a good lesson in a lot of folks, especially
For
those that
some
are kind
reason, I
of new.
still write all the proposals.
Work is work, right? Like I'm certainly not going to turn down a subcontracting opportunity that I do not have to write a proposal for.
She's not gonna even
Unless
write
it's
the
outside of my scope. Unless it's out of scope. But I mean, think about it. That shortens my cost per sale from this
proposal.
to this. It's just smart.
You can't listen to her. She's spoiled. I'll write her proposal. She's not allowed to write her own proposals. I won't have it.
Yeah, she doesn't like my formatting or lack thereof, should I say. All right. And then last but not least, neglecting compliance reporting once you're on a contract.
Oh, yeah.
Compliance reporting is a pain.
It
Nobody
is.
likes it. Nobody.
Well,
But
isn't
even
GSA you need contract management too? Like it's the maintenance, well, you mentioned the maintenance, but that takes a lot of work. And then you're supposed to like submit how many sales you have, what, monthly, or was it quarterly?
TDR, transactional data reporting, I don't know. I'll look it up. But
But you have to report your sales.
yes.
You have to meet a threshold. Like you have to actively be trying to win work.
Yes. And I have had several companies in the past, not necessarily very recently, but they are very reactive and they wait until GSA is knocking on the door saying, hey, where's your sales? And they're like, oh, shoot, they're going to kick me off. I got to do something about it.
Yeah. And people forget, well, you have marketing too. So your marketing, like for instance, in GSA, you have brochures, you have your marketing page, you have all the things. And, after a while, if you don't maintain that, your products are no longer, the same. You haven't taken advantage of the upkeep in regards to an inflation. You haven't updated your pictures. You haven't done anything. We find people that come and they're like, they need the whole thing redone. And then on top of that, the innovation in regards to getting out there and really marketing to people. People don't know you have a contract vehicle unless you mention it and you strategize and use it as a selling point, especially with agencies, because that is supposed to be a quick and easy way for them to give you an award. So think outside of just when a task order drops and you want to bid on it. What else can you use that contract vehicle for?
Definitely partnerships. Definitely.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I think that was all on my list of bullet points to make sure that I covered. So we can move on to our wrap up and our calls to action. I think the key takeaway here is winning the contract vehicle is just the first step. Winning consistent task orders is really where the money is.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, you have a smaller pool of bidders. And granted, I mean, there is value in knowing exactly who your competition is going to be, I must say.
It
Right?
is.
So for the next 5 years, I know I'm going to be bidding against these companies. I'm really going to hone in on what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, what do I have that they don't, and why should the government buy from me?
Right.
You have the opportunity to establish your win themes early and grow those through the duration of the contract. So it may not be something that the new folks will be able to take advantage of now, but even if you are new, going back to that marketing,
Right.
when you get the vehicle, update your capability statement. And I don't say that to check a box. Then you're going to take that capability statement and you're going to use it. You're going to make sure that all of your customers know that you now have that vehicle or that you're a sub on that vehicle. And hey, Mr. Customer, we have a new way that you can buy from us through our partner on OASIS. Here's the contract details. That happens. So developing a relationship with someone that has a seat on one of those vehicles can give your customers another way to buy from you.
On top of that, we also see that in sources sought and RFIs. You can, in many cases, tell agencies, hey, listen, I am willing to bid on this. I am capable and have the core capabilities to, perform the work and provide a solution. And I think it would make it a lot simpler than you having to put out a whole RFP and evaluate and source. You can put it on my schedule, you can minimize how much, comes in, but you're targeting. You're making it so the rest of your competition that's not on that vehicle can't bid on it. Just you and whoever is on that vehicle who's, targeting that. But those are some methodologies to, kind of pushing things to your in your favor.
Absolutely agree. And now's the time if you guys have questions. I know we kind of ran through this at a high level, but if there are any situations that you want to talk about, if you have any questions on any of the contract vehicles, if we can help you in any way, please drop those in the chat now before we go so we have some time to get them answered. And as always, you can support us at no cost by liking, subscribing, and tapping that bell to be notified when we're live. I would encourage everybody, as your takeaway today, I'm giving you some homework. Go audit your pipeline and identify one or two contract vehicles that you can put in your forecast, in your pipeline forecast, to be a long-term goal for you. Because again, a lot of them are already awarded. Some may drop next year for onboarding. But if you do your research now, you're going to be ready for those. Maybe you'll have to put together a team. Maybe you'll be able to bid as prime. But don't wait. Start now. And let me know how your research goes and if you have any questions, because we don't know what we don't know. So once you start digging into the likes of NASA SOUP or BETS 2 or CIO SP4 and performing your go, no-go analysis, know that the old solicitations are still in the inactive category on SAM.gov.
That's how we look at it.
Pull it.
How we plan.
Measure yourself up to those requirements. What do you have right now that you can nail? What do you need? Because by and large, it might change a bit next time around, but not too much.
It doesn't change too much, though. You're right. I like that. I'm glad you brought that up because we do that.
Yeah, we do.
They don't drop an RFP if we know it's forecasted to come around again for recompete. We pull the other old one and we start pulling solutions. We start putting a whole annotated outline together just based on that. And so all you do is have to revise a couple of things based on what comes out. But absolutely.
Yeah, by and large, it helps you fill in your gaps early instead of waiting until the solicitation drops. And then you're constantly like playing catch up throughout the entire.
And you can partner responsibly too by recognizing those gaps if you need a teaming partner, or if you decide you want to be a sub and you find yourself a prime. And these are the areas that we can fill your gaps in.
Yeah, and if you have any questions or need help figuring it out, feel free to book a discovery call with us. We'll help you sort of get on track and identify the right vehicles that sort of meet your core competencies and where you are in your business, because development and maturity is a big part of onboarding onto some of these vehicles, at least.
Very much so.
Any final thoughts? I don't think, do we have any comments or questions? We do not yet. Any final thoughts for the audience before we skedaddle for the evening?
Keep an eye out on new IDIQs. This is an exciting time. There are some good moments. There are some bad moments. I like to look at the good stuff. There's some exciting new IDIQs that are coming out into the world. I mean, we see SHIELD alone is a brand new one that we've never had.
We forgot to talk about SHIELD. Okay, sorry. Go ahead.
All the Marvel stuff. We talked about it last episode, but it is an IDIQ for IT and innovation, all the things with the Missile Defense Agency. And I will be there for their small business. So if anybody's going out to the small business conference in Huntsville, Alabama, DM me because I will meet you there for a drink or two. And this is, or 20. It's 151 billion. I'll drink with whoever. I'll be right there helping you all out with your task orders. But it is a amazing, very we're seeing this transition between innovation and everyone's tired of old stuff. So it's all the new things. What's coming up? What can make changes? Where can we add efficiencies and really change the dynamic of how us as a country kind of move forward in the future of tech. So it's so exciting. So there's more things that are coming. I'm looking at all these new pre-forecasted IDIQs and GWACs that I've never seen before. And it's really, really cool. And even the ones that we are used to, they're adding new task orders or new areas where they're asking for innovation, AI. We're seeing those things now being pushed.
Yeah.
So anyone that's in the tech world or is into innovation, this is definitely your time to shine.
Yes, do go back and watch the episode on innovation. We talked about OTAs, SBIRs, we talked about Shield, and there was one other one. So
Snipe.
those of you, it's not, yeah. Those of you who are in tech and innovation. So I will say this, if you're in technology, you may not realize it yet, but you're an innovator.
Yeah.
So you'd be surprised at how many folks don't make that connection.
Yeah.
So, through questioning, do you do this? Do you make new things? Do you improve what already exists? They come to that conclusion on their own. Go
Yep.
check it out. Go check it out. You may find yourself an innovator too. All right, everyone. Well, I appreciate all of you for showing up today. If you do have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments. If you happen to be watching us on demand after the live show, we do watch our comments and try to respond at least weekly, if not daily. So I will, with that said, let you all get back to your weekend. Have a great one.
Bye.
Bye.